The Empire's fleet moved through the silent darkness of space. For weeks they had been following faint signals that came from a forgotten corner of the galaxy. Their charts called this world Ysera 9, a ruined planet destroyed during one of the old wars. No ship was supposed to be here. No life was supposed to remain. Yet the scanner showed something strange, something alive. The commander of the fleet, Admiral Corrin, stood on the bridge of his warship. His eyes stayed fixed on the planet below. From orbit, the surface looked broken and wild. Vast jungles stretched across what had once been cities. Towering stone ruins rose like broken teeth from the green canopy. It looked like a graveyard of a lost civilization. Impossible, one officer whispered. This world was burned clean. Nothing should remain. But the scanners did not lie. Heat signatures, small clusters of fire, and moving figures were all detected on the planet. Someone, or something, was alive down there. The Admiral gave the order. A landing team would go down. 10 soldiers, armored in black suits, boarded their transport ship. Their boots clanged against the steel floor as the ship dropped from the warship and cut through the clouds. When they broke through the mist, the jungle came into view. It was endless, thick and green. Strange birds scattered as the transport ship passed overhead. The ruins looked even larger up close. Massive pillars covered in moss, leaning at odd angles like the bones of ancient giants. The soldiers landed in a clearing. The air was heavy, filled with the smell of wet earth and the cries of unseen animals. The commander of the squad, Captain Dara, raised her hand. "Stay sharp. This place should be dead." They moved forward in silence. Their black armor reflected the dim light that slipped between the jungle leaves. Weapons ready, eyes alert, every soldier felt the weight of history pressing down on them. These ruins were not just old, they were ancient, far older than the Empire itself. Then came the first sound. Not the cry of an animal, not the hum of a machine, but a voice. A human voice. The soldiers froze. From beyond the trees, laughter echoed. It was light, almost joyful, but it cut through the silence like a blade. The squad moved toward it, their hearts pounding. Through the thick vines and broken stone they saw movement, shapes, figures, and then they stepped into a clearing. The soldiers stood in shock. Before them were people, humans, dozens of them. Men, women, and children gathered around fires. Some were cooking food. Some carried water. Some worked on tools made of both metal and stone. They wore strange clothes, stitched from animal hides and woven plants, but decorated with small pieces of advanced technology. Lights, wires, glowing stones. One soldier whispered, "It cannot be. Humans are gone. The Empire destroyed them all centuries ago, but there they were, alive, thriving." The humans turned when they saw the armored soldiers. Fear crossed their faces at first. Mothers pulled children close. Men reached for weapons made of sharpened bone and steel. Yet no one attacked. Instead, an old man stepped forward. His hair was long and silver, his eyes sharp with intelligence. He raised his hand in peace. And then, to the soldiers' disbelief, he spoke. His words were rough, strange, but recognizable. An old dialect of a language humans once spoke on Earth thousands of years ago. The Empire soldiers stood frozen. The translator in their suits struggled, filling their helmets with broken words. "We are human. We live, we endure." The silence was unbearable. The jungle seemed to hold its breath. The soldiers exchanged nervous glances. Captain Dara stepped forward. "This is impossible. The Empire's records are clear. Humans were wiped out."
"How did you survive?"
The old man's eyes did not waver. "You burned the stars, but you never found us. This world hid us, and here we thrived." The soldiers' hearts pounded. The Empire had believed humanity extinct for generations. They had told the galaxy that humans were weak, broken, and destroyed. Yet here was proof of the opposite. Here were humans, alive, strong, and unbroken. One child, no older than 10, walked past the old man and looked directly at the soldiers. His eyes were bright, filled with both fear and curiosity. He reached out his hand toward the black armor of one soldier, almost as if testing to see if the figures before him were real. The soldier did not move. He simply stared back. Behind them, the jungle stirred. The ruins loomed like silent watchers. And in that moment, the soldiers realized something chilling. This was no accident. These humans were not just survivors. They were protectors of something far greater. Admiral Corrin's voice crackled in their helmets from the ship above. "Report, what do you see down there?" No one answered at first. What could they say? That the Empire's greatest enemy, The race they thought had been destroyed was alive and flourishing? That the history of the galaxy was a lie? Finally, Captain Dara spoke, her voice low and steady. "We have found humans, Admiral. They are alive. And they are thriving." The Admiral's silence on the other end said more than words ever could. The soldiers looked around them, at the humans who stared back with a mixture of fear and defiance, at the old ruins that whispered of civilizations long gone, at the fires that burned with warmth and hope. A single thought filled their minds, heavy and undeniable. The Empire was not the only power left in the galaxy. Humanity had returned, and with that thought came another darker one. If the Empire had failed to destroy humans once, what would happen now that they had survived, hidden, and grown strong in the shadows? The story was only beginning. First contact, the clearing was silent. The Empire soldiers stood frozen, facing the humans who should not exist. Smoke rose from the small fires. The scent of cooked meat and herbs drifted through the air. Children clutched their parents, staring at the armored strangers with wide, fearful eyes. Captain Dara kept her weapon lowered, but her voice was firm. "Do not move," she ordered. Her squad shifted, ready to act at the first sign of danger. Yet none of the humans attacked. The old man, the one with silver hair and steady eyes, remained at the front. He seemed to measure the soldiers as though he had seen something like this before. Slowly, carefully, he spoke again. The translator built into the soldiers' helmets crackled, piecing together broken words. "We are human. We live. We survive." The words made the soldiers' blood run cold. Humanity had been wiped out, erased by the Empire's wars centuries ago. And yet here, on this forgotten world, humanity still breathed. Admiral Corrin's voice echoed in their helmets. "Confirm what you see." Captain Dara's eyes locked with the old man's. She spoke slowly, almost whispering. "We have found humans, Admiral." "Living humans," silence followed. Then the Admiral's voice returned, low and tense. "Hold position. Learn what you can. Do not provoke them." The humans did not seem eager to fight. In fact, their fear was giving way to something else. Curiosity. One of the younger men stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the black armor and glowing visors of the Empire soldiers. He spoke quickly in the old language, his voice urgent. The translator stuttered, struggling with the dialect. "What, have you come? Do you bring death?" The question cut through the air like a blade. The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. Captain Dara raised her hand. "We are not here to harm you. We did not know you lived here." She paused, then added, "The galaxy believes your people are gone." The old man gave a weary smile. "That is what we wanted them to believe." Gasps rippled through the squad. The man's words carried a weight of centuries. If this was true, then these humans had not just survived by chance. They had hidden deliberately, keeping themselves beyond the Empire's grasp. The humans began to move cautiously closer. Women carried baskets of fruit and water. Children peeked from behind their parents' legs. The soldiers, unsure of what to do, lowered their weapons further. Then something strange happened. One of the children, a girl with dark eyes and tangled hair, walked right up to Captain Dara. She was no more than 6 years old. Without fear, she reached out and touched the cold metal of the captain's armor. Her small hand pressed against the black surface. She tilted her head, studying her reflection in the visor. Then she spoke a word in her language. The translator whispered its meaning. "Machine." The soldiers held their breath. Dara slowly knelt down. Her visor reflected the child's face, innocent yet filled with something the captain could not describe. Defiance, perhaps, or hope. She lowered her voice. "No, not machine, human, like you." The girl blinked, then gave a small smile. She turned and ran back to her mother, laughing. The old man nodded as if he had been waiting for this moment. He gestured to the soldiers. "Come, see." The squad hesitated. Entering the human settlement could be a trap, but their training told them this was a discovery greater than any they had ever made. Slowly, carefully, they followed. They were led past fires, huts woven from vines and metal scraps, and tools that mixed primitive craft with advanced fragments of lost technology. It was a world both simple and complex, fragile and powerful. The humans spoke in low voices, pointing at the soldiers, their eyes filled with wonder and suspicion. Some touched the black armor as though testing if these figures were real. Finally, the old man led them to the edge of the settlement. Beyond a broken wall of ancient stone, the jungle opened to reveal something breathtaking. A city. Not a living city, but ruins that stretched for miles. Towers carved from stone and metal, cracked yet still standing, rose into the mist. Vines crawled over every surface, yet strange lights flickered deep within, as though some power still lingered after countless centuries. The soldiers could not believe what they saw. This was no simple village. This was the heart of an ancient civilization, and somehow humans had lived within it, hidden from the galaxy's gaze. Captain Dara whispered, "How long have you been here?" The old man's eyes seemed to darken. "Since before your empire was born." The squad stiffened. That was impossible. The empire had risen more than 1,000 years ago. Could these humans truly have been here all that time? The old man looked at them, his voice calm but filled with power. "You thought us dead, but we are the memory you could not kill. We are the shadow that endured." The soldiers exchanged looks of disbelief and fear. They had come expecting to find ruins. Instead, they had uncovered a secret that could shake the empire itself. The old man's voice dropped lower. "And now that you are here, the time of hiding is over." A chill swept through the squad. None of them knew what he meant, but in their hearts they felt the weight of something vast and unstoppable. Humanity had not only survived, humanity had been waiting. The hidden civilization. The Empire soldiers followed the old man as he guided them deeper into the ruins. The air was damp, heavy with the scent of moss and stone. Every step echoed against broken pillars carved with strange patterns. The jungle pressed close, but the ruins were stronger than the vines that tried to claim them. Even after thousands of years, the city still stood. The soldiers kept their weapons close, though none of the humans showed aggression. Instead, they watched with wary eyes. Some carried baskets of food or jars of water, moving like people who had lived this life for countless generations. They were not wild. They were not desperate. They looked like a community that had thrived in secret. Captain Dara whispered into her helmet comms, "Record everything. Every stone, every symbol. The Empire will want proof of this." But inside, even she felt a tremor of unease. This place was older than anything she had seen. It carried a silence that was not natural, as if the walls themselves remembered things too dark to speak. The old man finally stopped at the base of a towering structure. It rose high above the trees, cracked and leaning, yet still magnificent. The walls were etched with carvings of human figures standing beside beings with wings, claws, and strange glowing eyes. One soldier muttered, "These are not just ruins. They are history." The old man turned, his face solemn. "This was once a city of the ancients, long before your empire, long before your wars. They built wonders, and they destroyed themselves." The soldiers exchanged looks. The empire's records spoke little of civilizations older than itself. It was a truth often ignored, buried by centuries of propaganda. Yet here was proof standing before them. The old man continued, "When the ancients fell, we were left behind. The survivors built a life here, hidden from the galaxy. Generation after generation we endured." Captain Dara frowned. "But how? The empire spread across every star. How did no one discover you?" The man's eyes seemed to darken. He pointed toward the heart of the ruins. "Because the city itself protected us." The soldiers stiffened. "Protected? What did that mean?" The old man walked slowly into the shadow of the broken tower. They followed, their visors glowing faintly in the darkness. Inside, the air was cooler. Strange machines, long dead yet strangely intact, lined the walls. Dust covered them, but faint light still blinked on their surfaces. One soldier brushed his hand over a panel. It came alive, glowing with symbols no one could read. Captain Dara's voice trembled. "This technology, it is not human, not empire. What is it?" The old man's voice was quiet, yet it carried weight. "The ancients left behind many secrets. One of them was a shield, a veil that hid us from the eyes of the empire. Your ships could pass 1,000 times above us and you would see only jungle and ruins." The squad fell silent. If this was true, then these humans had been invisible for centuries, guarded by a power no one in the empire understood. One of the younger soldiers muttered, "Then why reveal yourselves now?" The old man looked at him. "Because the shield weakens. Its time is ending, and now, you have come." The words sent a chill through the squad. If the shield fell, the empire would see this world clearly, and when the empire saw humans alive, it would not hesitate to destroy them. The humans guided the soldiers further in. Beneath the broken tower, a tunnel led deep into the earth. The walls glowed faintly with veins of blue light. alive like blood under skin. The air grew colder, sharper. At last they entered a vast chamber. The soldiers stopped, their eyes widening behind their visors. It was a city beneath a city. Tunnels stretched in every direction, filled with glowing crystals and ancient machines still humming with energy. Homes carved into stone walls glimmered with warm firelight. Hundreds of humans moved below, living their lives as though nothing beyond these walls existed. Children ran across bridges of stone. Farmers carried baskets of glowing fruit from underground gardens. Blacksmiths hammered tools against ancient anvils. Everywhere life thrived in balance with the ruins around them. One soldier whispered, "This is impossible." "This is advanced," the old man nodded. "We learn to live with the ancients' gifts. We do not waste them. We do not bow to them. We endure with them." The captain's chest tightened. This was no scattered band of survivors. This was a civilization, hidden and self-sustained, more resilient than anyone in the galaxy could imagine. And if they had survived this long, what else had they preserved? The old man turned to the squad. His eyes burned with something fierce, something unshaken by time. "You see now why we cannot be destroyed? You thought us forgotten, but here in the shadows of the ancients, humanity has grown strong." Captain Dara felt the weight of his words. The Empire had come expecting to find only dust and silence. Instead, they had found a people untouched by fear, carrying secrets that could rival the Empire itself. She activated her comms, her voice low. "Admiral, you need to see this." But even as she spoke, a thought gnawed at her. If the Empire saw this, they would not allow it to live. And for the first time in her long career, Captain Dara did not know whose side she stood on. The Empire's dilemma. Captain Dara stood at the edge of the underground city, her visor reflecting the glow of crystals that pulsed like living veins through the stone walls. The humans moved below, working, laughing, living, as if their world had never been touched by the wars of the galaxy above. It was beautiful. And it was dangerous. Her comm crackled with the voice of Admiral Corrin. "Report," she hesitated. What could she say? That an entire human civilization lived here in secret, that they were not broken or primitive but strong and organized. The truth was a weapon, and once spoken it could never be taken back. Finally, she said, "We have found a hidden settlement. Humans, thousands of them. They live in ruins filled with advanced technology. It is more than we expected." Silence followed. Then Corrin's voice came low and sharp. "Secure the area. Gather information. Do not act until I arrive." Her stomach sank. If the Admiral came, the humans would no longer be a discovery. They would become a target. The squad broke into quiet conversations. Private Jalen, the youngest among them, whispered, "What happens now? If the Empire sees this, they'll burn it to the ground." Sergeant Karos, older and hardened, grunted. "That's the Empire's way. If it doesn't obey, it doesn't live." Captain Dara silenced them with a look, but inside she knew they were right. The Empire did not tolerate threats, and a hidden human race thriving in secret was more than a threat. It was a challenge to the very story the Empire had told for centuries, that humanity was extinct. The old man approached, his silver hair catching the dim glow of the chamber. His eyes, sharp and unyielding, settled on Dara. "Your Empire knows now. It will come for us. The question is not if, but when." Dara's jaw tightened. "Then why bring us here? Why show us any of this if it puts you in danger?" The old man's answer was calm, almost heavy. "Because the time for hiding is over. The shield weakens. Soon the galaxy will see us whether we wish it or not. Better that you see first. Better that you understand." His words struck something inside her. Understand. But what was there to understand? These people had survived by living in the shadows. The Empire had spread across countless worlds, crushing rebellion, rewriting history. And yet these humans had endured, untouched, unbroken. The old man continued, his voice steady. "You think us weak because we are hidden. But strength is not only in weapons. Strength is in survival. While your Empire rises and falls, we remain." Sergeant Karos spat on the ground. "Pretty words. But when the Empire comes, you'll burn like the rest." The old man's gaze did not waver. "Perhaps. Or perhaps it will be your Empire that burns." The soldier stiffened. His tone was not defiance. It was certainty. Dara felt unease coil in her chest. What did he mean? Did these humans possess weapons? Did they hold knowledge lost to the galaxy? The ruins around her hummed with power, their faint lights refusing to die even after millennia. If the humans had learned to control them, what else were they capable of? She activated her comm again. Admiral, you need to understand. This is not a scattered group of survivors. This is a civilization. Destroying them would be... She stopped herself before saying wrong. The Empire did not care for right or wrong. It would be dangerous. But the Admiral was not a man swayed by caution. Dangerous to leave alive, you mean? Hold your ground, Captain. I will arrive soon. Her hand curled into a fist. She looked at the humans below. Men and women working together, children playing, elders telling stories beside glowing fires. They did not look like rebels. They looked like people who had simply refused to die. Private Jalen's voice cracked through the comms. Captain, are we really going to let them be slaughtered? The question hung in the air like smoke. No one answered. The old man seemed to hear the silence. He stepped closer. Your Empire will not allow us to live. I know this, but you must choose, Captain. Will you be their hand of death, or will you see the truth before it is too late? Her heart pounded. The Empire demanded loyalty, obedience, silence. Yet here, standing in the heart of an ancient ruin, she felt something else pressing on her chest. The weight of truth. Dara turned to her squad. We hold position. No action until the Admiral arrives. Her voice was firm, but her thoughts were storming. Hours passed. The soldiers kept watch while the humans carried on with their lives, unshaken by the strangers in their midst. Some even brought food to the soldiers, baskets of fruit and bread. Private Jalen accepted it with a grateful nod. Sergeant Karos refused, his face hard as stone. When night fell in the underground city, glowing crystals lit the darkness like stars. Songs rose from the humans, soft and haunting, filling the cavern with echoes that seemed older than time itself. Dara listened, her chest tight. The Empire would not understand this. It would not see beauty or resilience. It would see only defiance to be crushed. Her comm crackled again. Captain, prepare for the Admiral's arrival. His ship will descend at dawn. The words were final. The choice was approaching, whether she wanted it or not. She looked once more at the humans. Children laughing, elders singing, families gathered around glowing fires. A people who should not exist yet did. And for the first time, Captain Dara wondered if loyalty to the Empire was worth more than the truth standing before her eyes. The revelation dawn came slowly to the hidden city. The crystals that glowed through the night dimmed as faint sunlight seeped in through cracks high above the ruins. The humans stirred, beginning their day as though nothing had changed. Yet the Empire soldiers stood tense, weapons ready, waiting for the arrival of their admiral. Captain Dara's heart was heavy. She had not slept. The admiral's words echoed in her ears. Prepare for his arrival. At dawn, she knew what that meant. He would not come to admire the humans. He would come to judge them. And the Empire's judgment was always death. The old man with silver hair approached. His steps were steady, calm, as if he already knew what was coming. Your leader comes. He will see us as a threat. He will try to erase us, as the Empire always has. Dara's voice was sharp. If you know this, why do you stay here? Why not hide again? The old man's eyes darkened. Because hiding is over. The shield is failing. Soon all the galaxy will see us. We cannot run anymore. He turned and began walking deeper into the ruins. Come. It is time you saw what we have guarded. Her squad followed, though unease rippled through them. The tunnel grew darker, the air colder. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, pulsing like veins of light. At last, they entered a vast chamber larger than any they had seen before. And there it was. At the center of the chamber stood a massive structure, a machine unlike anything the soldiers had ever seen. It was built of stone and metal, yet alive with power. Rings of light spun slowly around its core, and beams of energy pulsed from it into the walls, feeding the glowing veins that spread through the ruins. Private Jalen gasped. What is that? The old man's voice was low. The heart of the ancients. It is what kept us hidden. It is what kept us alive. The machine hummed, ancient yet strong. The soldiers could feel the energy vibrating through their armor. It was not just a shield. It was something greater. Captain Dara's visor scanned the machine, but her system failed to read it. The data was scrambled, unreadable. This technology, it is beyond the Empire. The old man nodded. Because it is not of the Empire. It was here long before. The ancients built it to hide themselves, but when they fell, we learned to use it. It shielded us from your ships, your scanners, your war. But now, its time ends. Sergeant Karos frowned. And when it fails, you'll be exposed. The Empire will destroy you in hours. The old man turned to him, his voice steady. Perhaps. But you will not destroy us so easily, for we have kept not only the shield, but knowledge. He raised his hand and the machine responded. The rings of light spun faster and the air trembled. Suddenly, images flickered across the chamber walls. Visions of stars, maps of galaxies, and ships unlike anything the soldiers had ever seen. Jalen whispered, awestruck. These are designs, ships, weapons. The old man's voice carried through the chamber. The ancients left behind more than ruins. They left wisdom. They left power. And we have kept it, waiting for the day we must use it again. Captain Dara's blood ran cold. This was the truth. These humans were not only survivors. They were guardians of technology that could rival the Empire itself. Her comm crackled. Admiral Corrin's voice thundered in her helmet. Captain, I have arrived. Bring me to them. Her stomach clenched. She looked at the humans, standing calmly in the glow of the ancient machine. She looked at her squad, divided between fear and awe. And she looked at the old man who stood unbroken, his eyes burning with certainty. The Admiral would see only one thing, a threat to be erased. But Dara saw something else. She saw truth. She saw strength. She saw a people who had endured where none should have survived. The old man spoke softly, almost kindly. Now you must choose, Captain. Will you stand with the Empire that fears truth, or will you stand with the humans who refuse to die? The chamber trembled as the ancient machine roared louder, filling the air with energy. The shield was weakening, breaking apart. Soon the Empire's ships above would see everything. Her squad looked at her. Jalen's eyes begged for mercy. Karos's jaw clenched with loyalty to the Empire. The decision was hers. For a long moment, Captain Dara said nothing. Then slowly she lowered her weapon. Her voice was steady, though her heart raced. Admiral, I must advise caution. These people are not enemies. They are survivors. They have knowledge the Empire does not. To destroy them would be... She hesitated. A mistake. The Admiral's reply was cold as iron. You forget your place, Captain. Humanity is a threat. I am coming down myself. The comm went silent. The soldiers shifted uneasily. The old man's eyes narrowed. Then it begins. The chamber shuddered as the ancient machine flared with light. The shield that had hidden them for centuries groaned, then shattered. Above, the Empire's fleet would now see the city, the ruins, and the humans in their thousands. But something else awoke. The machine pulsed once more, brighter than a star. A wave of energy swept through the ruins, through the jungle, through the skies. The soldiers stumbled as the very ground seemed to roar. Dara's visor went black, then lit again, flooded with warnings. What is happening? She shouted. The old man's voice was calm. The ancients left us their last gift, not just to hide, but to rise when the time was right. Above, the Empire's warships trembled as their systems flickered. Weapons went offline. Engines stuttered. For the first time in centuries, the Empire's fleet felt powerless. The humans below raised their voices in a chant, a song older than the Empire itself. It echoed through the chamber, through the ruins, through the very bones of the planet. Captain Dara stared, her heart racing. The truth was undeniable. Humanity was not extinct. Humanity was not weak. Humanity had endured, waiting in the shadows, keeping secrets the Empire could never dream of. And now, with the shield broken, the galaxy would know the truth. The Empire thought it had destroyed them. But humanity had survived, and humanity was ready.